السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته، مساء الخير جميعا، أهلا بكم في برنامج نيوكاسل مع وليد الموسم السادس وليلة خاصة مع أحد أبرز صحفي بريطانيا ومدينة نيوكاسل، السيد لي ريدر من صحيفة الكرونيكل، الصحيفة الشعبية الأولى في مدينة نيوكاسل. حديث خاص عن المباراة المترقبة بين نيوكاسل وليفربول في نهائي الكاراباو، واللي هي طبعا بطولة كأس الأندية الإنجليزية المحترفة. lads and lasses, Lee Ryder in the house. Welcome, Mr. Lee.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me again. Good to speak to everybody once more.
Thank you for coming, sir. It's a privilege to us having you in the show for several times. Excited times, Mr. Lee. We all waiting this final. All our hands in our heart. We are worried about this game. But inshallah, this one, it will be much luck for Newcastle because we should learn from the past. The team is ready more. We will have many questions to ask you, sir, about this game. Let's speak first about the latest. Liverpool got defeat against PSG at Anfield. We watch the video you make on your channel in YouTube. You're saying that Liverpool wasn't seem not unbreakable. I like this word, unbreakable. Lose at of course before that at Southampton in first half 1-0 before they come back at 3-1. What do you think this game? How does it affect, you think, Liverpool with Newcastle after this big defeat, especially that Liverpool got everybody? For me, no, I didn't candidate Liverpool for Champions League, but a lot did.
Yeah, I think what we've seen in the last couple of games for Liverpool, if we're looking at it from a Liverpool sort of point of view, is we've seen a couple of little, what I would say, cracks. We've seen them, as you say, going 1-0 down to Southampton, who are bottom of the table. And obviously last night losing 1-0 over 90 minutes and extra time, and then obviously choking on the penalties, and sadly for them they don't go through. I mean, obviously we want to see all the British teams do well in Europe, there's no doubt about that. It helps everybody when that happens because it puts the coefficients up. But last night it wasn't Liverpool's night. But from Newcastle's point of view, they'll be watching that and thinking, well, compared to 7 days ago when it was all doom and gloom, we obviously hadn't beaten West Ham at that stage, and we were just worried about playing Liverpool. We've seen a couple of little, as I say, the little cracks, and hopefully Newcastle can expose them at Wembley on Sunday.
What do you think Liverpool having at the moment? Is it a drop? Usually the teams in February worldwide, they have some kind of a drop, but drop at this critical time, it's not expected for Liverpool.
Look, they're a class team. I mean, obviously Jurgen Klopp was there before on a slot, and we don't need to go into how many trophies they won under Jurgen Klopp. So the DNA of Liverpool Football Club is to win trophy after trophy after trophy, and they'll be seeing Sunday as an opportunity to do that. But as you say, it is that sort of time of year where there is a bit of fatigue setting in for some teams. Liverpool went on this unbelievable run. It's hard to maintain that. You cannot do it. This time last year, they were talking about Liverpool winning everything in Klopp's last season, and they ended up winning the one trophy. And that's, what they could end up with this season. If it all goes well for us, they could just end up with the Premier League title. I mean, I say just, that is a huge prize. But look, I think even the Arsenal Invincible team of many years ago, 21 years ago, I think it was now, they drew a couple of games. So, you can't win every single game. I know that sounds obvious. So Newcastle going to Wembley, they've got a chance. They've got a big chance to do something. It's got to be looked at in isolation over 90 minutes. teams make mistakes, teams get tired, people get sent off, or there could be an injury. Anything could change it, and hopefully it changes into Newcastle's favour, and they can finally win this, get this trophy on the table, which we've been trying to do for many years, but we're 90 minutes away from it. So hopefully good things can happen at Wembley.
The dream person, شخص حالم, saying, and a lot of fans here in Saudi Arabia, I believe same as well with Newcastle, among Newcastle fan, they are afraid like طبعا Liverpool will revenge. They're afraid that we are becoming a victim, like a flashback after these defeats for Liverpool, and they will destroy us. This is the fear. What you can say to the fans in Saudi about this?
Yeah, I mean, you do have to look at last night and think, had Liverpool won, they'd have been, rolling down to Wembley on the crest of a wave, and maybe that would have been tougher. But this could equally be as tough, because now they're going to be doubly determined to put this right. All Newcastle can do is focus on themselves, play to their strengths, do the things that they're good at, do the things that put them on a 9-game winning run. And I was thinking about this the other day, and I know Man United have had a really poor season by their standards. But for me, and I'm not saying this lightly because I've thought about it a lot, but for me, that opening half an hour at Old Trafford just before New Year's Eve, the way Newcastle attacked that game, they could have been 4 or 5 up at Old Trafford, which, again, against the poor Man United team, but to go to a big stadium like that and be brave, get on the ball, create chances. If they could turn up at Wembley and have a start like that and just show some courage and get on the ball, then, good things can happen. So I think Eddie Howe will set up to attack. I don't think he'll park the bus or anything like that. I hope he doesn't anyway. I hope he doesn't decide to play 5 at the back or something like that. But if they get on the front foot from the first moments of the game, then they've got a chance. They've got a big chance. So that's what you can say from a Newcastle point of view on the day.
You spoke, sir, to Mr. Eddie Howe after the West Ham game. How you think Eddie and the team ready for this final? How much in percentage?
Look, I was lucky enough to speak to Eddie Howe after the game, and he was in a really good mood. He was pleased that they not only got the win, but he was pleased that they can now focus on Wembley and all the distractions that have been in the way, Premier League, FA Cup. They're all behind Newcastle now. So for me, I've seen a man who was relieved. I was also lucky enough to go down to the tunnel and speak to Kieran Trippier after the game, and he was in a really good, focused mood. It was the first time we've spoken to Kieran Trippier this season in terms of the written journalists, and I've noticed a change in mood in Kieran Trippier in the last sort of few weeks, where he just seems to be enjoying his football again, enjoying leading the team, and he certainly led the team very well the other night. I thought he played very well. I gave him man of the match. I think he's going to be a key player in this final because he goes on the pitch, keeps everybody calm. As you've seen the other night when Joe Linton was getting a bit angry, he made sure he was calm again and stopped him from doing something stupid, if you like, getting sent off, and then he would have missed the final. But he stopped him from, boiling over. And I think his experience at 34, you can't buy that. So great to see him in a good mood. And the players, they'll be confident. They'll be looking forward to it. They're not going into the unknown this time. Last time, we hadn't been to a final since 1999. And it was always going to be difficult. I think on the day, they were a bit daunted. This time, it's all familiar to them. Going into that stadium, seeing the fans. Hopefully, they can just go there and make a good account of themselves.
This question is my question, actually. I expect the team learned from the last final experience against Manchester United 2 years ago. But we witnessed similar conditions before the last final. now I believe we witness it, like losing points, thinking about the game, thinking about the final, weird increase of or sudden injuries occur, and also absence due to not important red cards. We call it here free red cards, like what happened with, if we remember, Bob. That, and now we're facing the same with Gordon. Similar conditions. What do you think? Is it a coincidence, or is it happened to many teams? What Eddie Howe and the players have learned already from that experience?
Yeah, I think really for me, when you're building up to a final, the games are coming thick and fast. Newcastle have been, obviously, even though they haven't been in Europe, the games have been coming thick and fast because they've been involved in every competition up to the later rounds, which, you know, the FA Cup was really unfortunate to get knocked out in that manner against Brighton. You know, pretty much the last kick of the game, which could have gone to penalties and it could have been different, but that's gone now. But the squad have it's a small squad. If you go back to just after the window shut, we put a squad in of like, there was 5 goalkeepers in there. There was a couple of injured players. This is a very small squad for the level of football we're talking about. You know, it's not like Man City, who can just go out in January and buy 4 players. It's not like Liverpool have got a massive squad and an unbelievable academy, a long queue of, you know, young players who can just step in whenever. This is a small squad and it's feeling the strain. And I think that's what happened last time. They couldn't handle the 3 competitions. So the strain of this, when someone gets sent off, there's always like a kind of background to it. There's a bit of stress in the air. There's a bit of nervousness. That's why Nick Pope got sent off against Liverpool. Doesn't normally do something as catastrophic as that, running out and getting sent off. And with Anthony Gordon, I put that red card down to tiredness. You know, a lot of people have said he was stupid for what he'd done, but I think it was so late in the game. He's played so much football. He's just going into that kind of red mist zone, and he's ended up putting his hand up when he's tired. He's ended up getting a red card. And all of these things all add up to tiredness, which is what your question was. Why does this keep happening on the build-up final? I just think it's that stage of the season now. We're like 2/3 through it. It's been a long season. There's been a lot of emotion. And yeah, you know, it's the last man standing, really. The 11 players going to go out there and have the honour of playing for Newcastle United in a cup final. And whatever reason they're in the team, whether it's as a replacement or they're there on merit, they know that they could do something that people are going to talk about them forever. You know, if someone like Harvey Barnes or Dan Burn or whoever pops up with a late goal, you know, they could be building a statue of them or something like that. It is that big.
Brilliant, Mr. Lee. You made a video earlier, a little bit earlier, about the expected formation, and also you put a great article, special edition from the Chronicle about this special game. What do you? Let's talk about the lineup. You said, sir, it's gonna be Barnes, expected, of course, Barnes, Isaac, Murphy, and in the middle, Bruno, Joelinton, Tonali. So no problem here. As you said in the video, it's no much expectation. It's kind of obvious. But in the back line, we facing the kind of miss position with Livramento will be in the left back, expected, not target, because he didn't play enough minutes. Trippier, of course, in the right back, and Damber in the middle with Shar. But you said Dubravka will expected more to play because the calmness.
Yeah.
For me, it makes sense. But Bob start last 3 games. How come Dubravka play after this kind of distance in time?
Yeah, so for answering first on Livramento, I think the reason he wouldn't just suddenly tear that up and put Matt Target in because I don't think Matt Target's played anywhere near enough football to start the game. So that would be my answer on that part of it. On the goalkeepers, I looked at that team sheet, and this is just my opinion. I looked at that team sheet the other night and I just thought this could mean that Dubravka's going to play in the final, because when you say he started the last 3 games, Nick Pope, he started the last 3 Premier League games. Dubravka was back in against Brighton in the Cup. And if you remember, Dubravka played in both legs of that Arsenal game, because obviously Pope was still coming back. But Dubravka has been picked ahead of Pope. And yeah, the reason I think he's going to play is because of that calmness that he brings to the team. So for me, if that is the case, then I think that'll be fine. If Nick Pope plays, then I think that's also fine, because I think on his day, he's one of the top goalkeepers and he can play. He can easily play for England again. When you look at the level of opponents that England have got coming up, none of them would be any problem for Nick Pope. So for me, I think Dubravka might get the nod. This is just my opinion. And basically the reason, again, is the calmness. He's assured. And the only other thing I would throw in there is when he didn't turn down a contract from Saudi Arabia. He turned down the approach because he got offered something else from Newcastle. And if he's turning that down, then that means that he's had some assurances. One of them will have been a contract, which, he's already signed now. The second one he asked, if I stay, I've just got you through the cup final against Arsenal. I want to be starting that final. Maybe he's been told already in advance that will be the case. Eddie Howe could turn around to Dubravka and say, that's fine, but in the last 10 games in the league, Nick Pope will play. So there could be all kinds of, it's not negotiation. Eddie Howe said that he picks the team on merit, but he's got to be straight with these guys. He's got to be fair. They've got to know where they stand. And when people don't know where they stand, that's when problems begin. People start getting agitated. And I don't think Eddie Howe's the type of manager who lets that bubble away. I think they'll both know pretty much already if they're going to play in the final or not. So we'll see what the team sheet is on Sunday. And look, I might be wrong. It might be Nick Pope that starts the game. But I just have a little sneaky feeling could be Dubravka.
Eddie Howe, of course, he watched already, or he will watch soon, the game last night against Liverpool against PSG. Do you think he got some kind of idea? Maybe he will change the formation, maybe add little surprise there. For me, I like. Okay, it was different conditions, but I like the kind of 5-3-2 against Arsenal in second leg. We master that game. Do you expect Eddie Howe will have some surprises, or depending on the game last night against Liverpool, he finds something, or usually some of the coaches do the change or surprise agent factor?
Yeah, look, we can't. Eddie Howe always has a surprise up his sleeve somewhere. He's always got something that he could just throw into the mix, and we've seen it before. I mean, if he did go at 5 at the back, then I would imagine Emil Kraft would come in and join that defence. But I don't know. I think if he's going to win it, he's got to go for the jugular. He's got to go for it. And if he goes for it and loses, then I don't think he's got any criticism at all. If he decides to park the bus and loses, then I think he would get more criticism if he'd done that. So I think that he'll play a strong team, but I think ultimately, he will go for that attacking option. So that's my thoughts on that one. There might be a surprise. He's done it before, but we'll see.
Yeah, but Yeah, but thinking deeply into it, I think absence of Gordon minimize of this surprise of like 5-3-2. I think Gordon and Isaac, they have good team together. But Mrs. Gordon, this is eliminate us from getting more surprise. I think. All right, sir. The Premier League now, Newcastle after this win against West Ham in sixth position. It's very close points among the teams from third, I believe, from Nottingham Forest to Chelsea, Man City, Newcastle. Also, there is Brighton, Aston Villa as well, Bournemouth, of course. It's all like one game making a huge step in the table.
Yeah.
What do you expect the third and fourth position for the, of course, Liverpool and Arsenal? I think they are getting their way. So third and fourth, there is too many competition until ninth, Bournemouth.
Yeah, I think that third place might be gone pretty much. Fourth would be difficult as well. So I think it is a battle for number 5 between Newcastle and Man City. I would say it's pretty much a shootout for that position. And I think it's going to be hard because 10 games left, 30 points to play for. Newcastle lost to Man City recently, and that was a very difficult afternoon. That was one where the Champions League, I felt like it was slipping away, but we are back in it now. There's no doubt about it. Tough games coming up. You've got some winnable home games, but you've got to go to places like Arsenal and Brighton, so that's going to be hard. So there's 6 points that would be potentially in jeopardy. But with 10 games left, they're in with a heck of a chance. They're in with a chance. And if they win the Carabao Cup on Sunday, then that would be Europe anyway in one of the competitions. So I think they've got a real opportunity still. In both.
To be honest, sorry, sir, continue, please.
Yeah. No, I was just saying that they can win the cup and they can still get in the Champions League. So that's 2 dreams alive. So,
of course, and for me, Carabao is much more than enough. After 70 years, no champions, we need this title at the moment. It will help us a lot, especially with the new BIF plans for Newcastle. To be honest, I was wanted Liverpool to win yesterday because I want their mind to be busy with the quarter final of the Champions League. But now it seems after Liverpool, I think. Do you think Liverpool granted the title with 70 points?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much a done deal. And I think it's not just because Liverpool have been so great in the league. I think it's because Arsenal have, I suppose, lost their bottle a little bit. I think I don't even think they realise. I mean, Declan Rice was talking on TV on Sunday night after the Man United game, and I don't even think it had dawned on him that Arsenal's title hopes had gone. You know, he was so.
Did you see Arteta when being asked from the journalist reporter after 15 point difference and he leave without answer?
Well, I think the difference between Declan Rice's interview and Arteta's interview was that Declan Rice hadn't realised that the title had gone, whereas Arteta knew fine well that it had gone. That's why he decided to shove the reporter out the way and, not answer the question. But, I mean, I'm not sure. I'll have to watch it back. Did the reporter kind of put his hand up and try to stop him from going past? I don't know.
The video was end. It was not continue, but I didn't see other video. So both teams have nothing to lose. They will not worry much about the injuries. the title guaranteed. So this is they both out of FA Cup. So it's gonna be last game of the season, really.
Yeah, proper game. Everything about it is, it's all set up for a cracking final, what you would say, and it could be a classic. It could be one we're talking about for years and years and years. But I think really for Newcastle, they just want to try and get the job done, and we haven't scored at Wembley we haven't scored at the new Wembley, and we haven't scored at Wembley at all since Robert Lee scored in the year 2000, long time ago. So I think even a goal would be great this time, but we all want more than that. We want to win as well. So let's see how it unfolds.
Mohammed asking what Mr. Lee will do if Newcastle win.
Wow. I'll have to keep cool because I'll be writing a report. So, yeah, it's one where I think I will be emotional about it, very emotional. I think there could be some tears of joy. We've certainly had a lot of tears of pain down the years watching Newcastle, 2 relegations, lots of bad decisions, lots of bad defeats. There's been a lot of them, pain. So I think I will be very emotional, but I think, to be totally honest, if it happens, I don't think I'll probably take it all in at that moment. I think it'll probably dawn on me later on when I'm like sitting back in the hotel room or something. It'll be, the one thing I can feel that I can compare the emotion side of it to was, and I wasn't happy about this, obviously, because he got relegated. But when Newcastle went down in 2009, I was covering the game and I was going through the motions of it. And I knew they'd been relegated, but it wasn't until I actually got home that night, the enormity of what had happened hit me, if that makes sense. I realized how big it was, what had happened. And I think that it could be the same here. But look, the Newcastle players and fans are going to go crazy if Newcastle win. And I don't think the stadium will be empty for a long time. And yeah, we can only dream of that moment. That's the moment we've all been dreaming of for a long time. All of our lives, we've been dreaming of seeing Newcastle win a trophy. So when it eventually happens, and it will happen one day, I'm hoping it's going to be on Sunday. I actually went for like a walk on Sunday, last Sunday, went for a walk around like sort of the countryside near here. And I was walking around, I was thinking, I wonder if this is going to be the last Sunday where we don't have a trophy, because this time next week, we could have a trophy on the table. But look, it'll be massive if we can do it. And I just can't wait for the game to kick off, and let's hope that we can do it.
Inshallah. Did the team back to Newcastle, or they stay in London?
No, they've come back. So they've got.
Why they didn't stay? Or this is not usual.
I think basically, I think anyhow is big on letting people spend time with families, and he probably wanted to keep it quite low key, so they wouldn't stay over for 2 London games in a row. They'd just come back.
But he had the option.
Yeah, he had the option. He could have locked them in a hotel down south. He could have done that. That's what.
But maybe pressure. But I believe pressure everywhere.
Yeah, look, I think the world has become a smaller place because of the internet, right? So even if he locked them in a hotel room, and all the players are like looking on the phones and watching TV and maybe reading newspapers, looking at apps, all different things, there's no escape. So it's not like the old days where you could go down, if you had a cup final, you could go down on the Tuesday and then just lock everyone in the hotel, train at the hotel, do everything there, then go to the cup final and try and win the game. Life's changed so much since then. So now there would be no point in doing that. So I think he's right what he's doing. Also, they've got a media day on Friday. So Eddie Howe has to face the press. And I believe at least one player is going to do the press conference as well. So, yeah. They've got
last time, Mr. Lee, at the London, Wembley, I remember all the Georges cover all London with the black and white. And we were like seeing it was a celebration before the game. We understand that because the time of being not playing in Wembley and the new era with the takeover and stuff, etc. And we saw the management. I remember Jimmy Roven and Merdat. They were hiding in inside with the fans at the Trafalgar Square, as I recall.
Yeah.
Did they will and Darren Ellis have a speech with the fans before the game? Do you think this will happen again, or we become now kind of more mature? No celebration until if we win the cup.
Well, I think the fans this time are going to gather at Covent Garden in London because obviously they can't do Trafalgar Square. I think there's an event with St. Patrick's Day, so they can't do that this time. But I think the fans will make it a big weekend anyway. So Covent Garden will be full of flags and scarves and people having a drink and enjoying themselves. So that'll be. Yeah, I don't know about the management going, unless they go undercover again. But I know the players and the manager, they'll be locked in the hotel. They'll be focused on the game. And then after it, everybody can celebrate and have a drink after it.
Of course. Liverpool, do you think it will have some kind of a change in the lineup from last night? Surprise as well from a slot team?
I think that Trent Alexander-Arnold is out of the game, so I don't think he's going to play. I think they've got a couple of other issues, but I think they'll be all right. But look, I can't read too much into Liverpool changing the team. They've got so much quality. Every player is like world class. So I can't see how you can't get too excited when somebody gets injured at Liverpool because somebody else good comes in. So yeah, it's one where whatever 11 Liverpool put out will be strong. So we can't think like that.
Yes, Salah's situation. Is he continue with Liverpool? I think this is affect the Salah and the team. No, not having a new contract and possible move to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. Well, I think one day he will go to Saudi Arabia.
Because Salah now guaranteed the title. The title is Liverpool mostly, but this is a last cup maybe for Salah.
Could be, yeah. Could be his last big Wembley final. I do think eventually he will play in the Saudi Pro League, which will be a great day for him and the fans. But I think really this, at the moment for him, it's business. It's business as usual. And he's just got so much ability. And he's going to be one of many danger men on the day at Wembley.
Yeah, he's smashing numbers. He wants to continue. Moto here says, just today I saw rumors, the transfer market website, telling Bruno may go to Arsenal. I don't know why fans fall for this rumors before the finals.
Yeah, look, you've got a new director of football going in at Arsenal, and I do believe that the director of football going in at Arsenal at Atletico Madrid did like Bruno then. So I think there's sort of history there. I don't know if the clause is exactly correct yet. I'm not sure on that. There was a clause in the summer where he could have left, I think, for like £99 million. Nobody come in with that money. I don't know if it's exactly right about whether he goes if Newcastle don't qualify for the Champions League. But at the minute, I think all he'll be focused on is trying to win a cup for Newcastle. And yeah, these teams get linked with Newcastle's players, but they never seem to come up with the money. And we haven't seen anywhere near the money. We haven't even seen a bid for Isak from Arsenal. And there was no bid from Man City for Bruno. So who's to say that, Arsenal will follow up and put a bid on the table from this summer as well? It's a strange situation. There's a lot of feelers get put out on transfers, but sometimes they never materialize. So, until that bid comes in, then it's just speculation, really.
Muad saying, what do you mean? Ask Mr. Lee if we didn't. I hate this kind of questions, but we have to ask it anyway. If we didn't make the cup and qualify to Champions League, is Eddie Howe future in danger? Jeopardy.
Well, I think that question's already been answered, but it's been answered by not me. It's been answered by Darren Eales in his last round of interviews. He basically made it clear that Newcastle need to qualify for any of the European competitions. And he said that, let's be clear. So I would assume that provided Newcastle finish in one of the European places, then I don't think there's any real reason to change manager. I don't see that. I don't feel that. I think Eddie Howe has done a great job this season with limited resources. He's got a small squad at his disposal, and he's got the best out of every single player almost. And I think he's been here 4 years, and in 4 years, I can only think of one player where there's been any kind of sort of anger, and that was Ryan Fraser, and he ended up in the reserves, and then he got sold to Southampton. So I think Eddie Howe's been excellent with every player. Man management, second to none, and I just don't see why changing manager is even a conversation at the minute.
Will Newcastle will have a better chance after Liverpool being knocked out? We already answered that, fella. You just joined us. We already said that at the beginning. Mr. Lee, I've been asking a lot about the stadium. We know it's two choice, but what do you think? It's always pops up from while to while. Is it gonna expansion or is it gonna be moved to a new stadium?
Well, this is one where, and again, going back to Darren Eales, what he said, they want to make the right decision, so they're taking extra time to do that. And I think that's actually not a bad move. Got to be patient with this one. For me, as a supporter, the fact that they're taking it so seriously and bringing in someone like Brad Miller, bringing in someone like Peter Silverstone to look after all the commercial side of it. They're taking these things seriously now, and they've got to get this decision right. They've got to get it right.
Where we're gonna play? Where we're gonna play if this happens?
Well, I think for me, we need to know exactly what is happening first. That's the first one. So I'm happy to be patient with that. For me, if they stay at St James's and it becomes a sort of refurbished St James's with more seats, then that would be a suitable choice. And if they did that option, then they could gradually do it side by side, which means that they wouldn't have to worry about playing anywhere else. So let's say they rebuilt the Gallagher end. Well, for one season, that would be out of action. And there'll be a reduced capacity potentially. And I've lived through this before, because last time when they rebuilt the ground, that's what happened. Certain parts of it were like you couldn't use. The Gallagher got made smaller and smaller. Then they somehow managed to build it over a summer, and it was ready for the next start of next season. It was incredible. That was in 1995. So 1994, sorry. If they build a completely new stadium, then I suppose they can play at St James's Park until the new stadium is completed. It's only if they decided to completely knock St James's Park down altogether and rebuild it that they would need this option. So yeah, let's see what happens. I mean, the only feasible place that they could probably play is somewhere like Middlesbrough. They couldn't play at Sunderland because the police wouldn't allow that. You know, they wouldn't have it. And they can't go up to Scotland and play, surely, because that just doesn't work. I've heard Murrayfield, the rugby ground, mentioned that doesn't work because there's too many people having to go up and down the A1. So
you're welcome to play in Riyadh.
Well, I'm sure that every seat will get sold if that did happen. But yeah, hopefully we'll be back there for some friendly games soon.
I know this is bit early, or much early. Budget for the summer, everybody asking. I expect more than 200 million, but with the new box and balance and stuff. What do you think, sir?
Yeah, I think 200 million would be. I'd be surprised if that was the case, but I think it might be closer to half of that, potentially bringing in one or two big names, or big signings, if you like. And we'll see who leaves as well. There'll be people leaving, potentially people who are coming to the end of contract, try and clear the wage bill a little bit on that score. But I think there will be a couple of sales as well. I think there'll be players, fringe players who could be sold to, generate some money. They're not sort of away from danger with PSR yet, so I can't see them spending too much. I mean, we've all become financial experts in the last few years because of this. I think I've wrote more financial stories than I ever have at Newcastle. So yeah, it's going to be a movable feast, and hopefully they can get that one, sorted for the summer, and we've got a good squad to go into the next season, because they're not only going to have to deal with 3 domestic competitions, hopefully they can have European football as well. You need a big squad for that.
Your personal expectation as a result for the final, if you can.
I think, it's one where you just sit here and you think, if you call a result, I'm not going to sit here and say they're going to get beat. But by the same token, I know winning would be very difficult. All I'm going to say is we've got an unbelievable opportunity to impact this game. The way they start the game will be really important. If they can, in the opening half an hour, get on the front foot, cause Liverpool some problems, then I think we're in the real shout of pushing Liverpool all the way. And if we can go 1-0 up, get a goal, then we've got something to hold on to. And the way Newcastle played at times this season, they've scrapped and battled, and they've won some games narrowly. So let's hope that can be the case at the weekend as well. So my expectation is that Newcastle go there and they fight and they put on a big display. They always seem to choke in finals. Last time they did against Man United, 1999 they did against Man United again at the old Wembley, and the same against Arsenal. It didn't fall their way. So this is an opportunity to put all that right, and they've got an opportunity. My expectation is they go there and they battle.
I expect, sir, Newcastle will win. Of course, maybe Liverpool have some kind of a privilege on paper, but I think Newcastle wants it more, and they are more mature now.
Hope so. I hope so. I hope you're right.
Mr. Lee, thank you. It's an honor. Thank you for coming. We're much appreciated.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And yeah, just want to say thanks to everybody in Saudi Arabia who read and follow and watch the videos. It's really appreciated. thanks very much, and hope that everyone has a great day on Sunday.
كان معنا السيد لي ريدر رئيس صحفي الكرونيكل الصحيفة الرياضية الأولى في نيوكاسل. شكرا لكم للمتابعة. لا تنسوا الاشتراك في قناة نيوكاسل مع وليد. تصبحون على خير. هاوي ذا لاس.